North Korea latest missile launch a global threat. U.S. North Korea has fired its highest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and poses a worldwide threat. U.S. Secretary of Defense James Mattis has said. Earlier the Pentagon said the missile had flown for about 1,000 kilometers, 620 miles before falling into the Sea of Japan. The launch, early on Wednesday, is the latest in a series that have raised international tensions. North Korea's last ballistic missile launch was in September and came days after its sixth nuclear test. Mr. Mattis was speaking at the White House as he briefed President Donald Trump and senior officials on the missile launch. "It went higher, frankly, than any previous shots they have taken," he said, adding that the North was building ballistic missiles that threaten everywhere in the world. South Korean news agency Yonhap said that the missile was launched from Pyeongseong, in South Pyongan Province. Japanese government officials said the missile traveled for about 50 minutes but did not fly over Japan, as some have done in the past. President Trump was briefed while the missile was still in the air, the White House said. Afterwards he said, "We will take care of it. A problem without a solution." Jonathan Marcus, BBC defense and diplomatic correspondent. This missile test, the first for some 2 months, suggests that the lull in firings was not due to North Korea being cowed by her. Experts have indeed pointed to similar seasonal slowdowns in testing in the past. President Trump, responding to the test, says that his administration will handle it. But handle it how? The U.S. has called for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council, and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has spoken of stepping up the pressure on Pyongyang. But there are few new levers to pull. North Korea is seemingly a problem without a solution, and its nuclear and missile programs are none. Back at the top of the Trump administration's security agenda, the North is thought to be focusing efforts on building long-range missiles with the potential of reaching the mainland continental U.S. Officials in Pyongyang said the first of the longer-range missiles it tested in July could hit any part of the world, but the U.S. military called it an intermediate-range missile instead. Its last nuclear test reportedly involved a miniaturized hydrogen bomb that could be loaded onto a long-range missile, raising tensions with the U.S. even further. Last week, President Trump announced that the U.S. was redesignating North Korea a state sponsor of terrorism because of its missile and nuclear program. The U.S. imposed sanctions against Pyongyang. The measures targeted North Korean shipping operations and Chinese companies that traded with the North. Major North Korean missile tests in 2017. North Korea has carried out numerous missile tests this year. Some of these exploded shortly after launch, but others traveled for hundreds of miles before landing in the sea. Here are some of the major tests reported so far. The 12th of February, a medium-range ballistic missile launched from Banghaian Air Base near the west coast. It flew east towards the Sea of Japan for about 500 kilometers. The 4th of April, a medium-range ballistic missile fired from the eastern port of Sinpo into the Sea of Japan. South Korea's defense ministry said the missile flew about 60 kilometers. The 4th of July, Pyongyang claimed to have successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time. Officials said it reached an altitude of 2,802 kilometers and flew for the 29th of August. North Korea is thought to be its first nuclear weapon-capable ballistic missile over Japan. It was a height of about 550 kilometers. The 15th of September, a ballistic missile was fired across Japan for the second time and landed in the Sea off Hokkaido. It reached an altitude of about 770 kilometers and traveled 3,700 kilometers.